planned, and I'm so glad that I did, because I got to meet the people you will be hearing from in this video.
What's up? I'm Rob from Southern California, San Clemente, and I just bought a place here in El Valle. We closed about a week ago. We actually stumbled across it. We were visiting Coronado and met some cool expats at the beach, and it was a hot day, and we just wandered up the hill, and 45 minutes later we were wandering around El Valle and thought it was amazing. I think the first thing that grabbed me was just the town was alive with the locals and the energy. I felt like I was immersed in the culture, in the Panamanian culture, and stopped and checked out the market. There's an amazing market here, and just wandered around. My Spanish is getting better. I've been taking crash courses. The first week I was here, I met a lady who's lived here for almost 10 years, and I managed to talk her into giving me Spanish lessons. So I've been doing that on a daily basis. So when we first got here, it didn't take long before we realized that this was a place that we wanted to visit quite a bit, and we had already been kind of looking for a retirement home, an eventual retirement home. So we started asking around, and we found a gentleman that does real estate here, and we probably saw 7 houses in one day. And we found a fixer-upper, which is on about an acre of land. Our plan is to there's 3 there's a main house with a pool, there's a bungalow and a service quarters, and we're renovating it, and we're gonna do long-term rentals in the back and short-term rentals in the main house with the pool. So it's something that's probably gonna take a few months, but the nice thing about El Valle is that, unlike the States, there's people that are ready to go or very motivated to build and do construction, and it's also very reasonable. So we think we'll be done. It's a pretty major project, but we think we'll be done in 2 or 3 months. When you first get to town in El Valle, there's a center there. There's a visitor center, a really nice grocery store, and there's a bike shop. They rent and sell bikes. The young lady who works there also gives bike tours. She's off today and gave me a tour, and it was amazing. It's $10 a day to rent a bike. She charged $5 for the tour, and it was about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing is I was the only one on the tour. It was a private tour. Yeah, it was the first real extensive mountain biking I've done here, and it was awesome. We weren't on the road for 5 minutes, and we saw some monkeys playing in the trees. And there was we only saw a couple because they were fast and jumping through the trees, but you could tell by the sound of them that there was quite a few. So that started off the ride great, and then we rode back into the jungle, and the trails are tough, but they're not super expert. It's like basically a rocky road. We did get to a place where it was single track, but I walked because I'm not advanced at Mount, yeah.
Glad you're being careful.
Yeah, the town is pretty small, so it's almost like being on a cruise ship sometimes. Like, you start recognizing people's faces and strike up a conversation. If they don't speak English, I fumble around with Google Translate. I think I can actually carry on a conversation. I think everyone remembers when they were little, and maybe had like a grandparent or an older person that would tell you, you know, when I first came here, there were no traffic lights, and you could get a carton of milk for 35 cents. I never thought I would experience anything like that until I got to El Valle, and I started looking around, and There are no traffic lights here, and you can get a beer for 85 cents. So I'm kind of concerned that will be short-lived, but I also will enjoy it as being small and quaint. And then if more expats discover this great secret, then I'm sure that the town will come along and there'll be other advantages.
My name is Kim Colbert. I was born in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and I came to El Valle in September of 2015, and I found Alan's hostel on the internet, and I just decided that's where I'm going to go to find out about this place, and so I went and I stayed there for a month and a half, and then Alan bought the Golden Frog Inn, and he said, if you want to come out and help me with this hotel, you can stay there with us. So I moved to the hotel, and then and I found out about this club and made a contact, and she knew these people at the club, and she turned me on to them, and they invited me over, and they said, we don't have a pro, you can be our pro. So here I am.
My name's Alan. I was born here in Panama. I grew up in Canada. And after university, I decided to travel a while, and I was backpacking, and I came back here to El Valle to visit my parents, and that's when I decided to stay here. So El Valle used to be a volcano. That's what I was told. I want to make sure to have that on record. Was that a piece broke off on the Cariguana side towards Penonome, and the water flowed out, and then people started living here. But it was a volcano crater, or a cauldron, they call it. It was a super volcano, so it collapsed on itself instead of blowing up. And back in the day when the Inter-American Highway used to end at San Carlos, and that's where people would drive to. They would hire a horse and a guide to come into El Valle, and this would be a place of recovery. Certain people who have respiratory problems, they would come here because of the weather and the air is fresher. So eventually people started to come to El Valle for the reason it's about 7 to 8 degrees difference from Panama City. That's Celsius. So yeah, eventually people started moving here from Panama City, and they still do. We're close enough to the city. We're about 2 hours away. We also have certain people who like to do water sports, which it doesn't seem like it because we're up here in the mountains, but the people like the cooler weather where they live, but it's within half an hour to the beaches where they can surf. I've been getting lessons from Kim on and off. I think about like 6 weeks ago, I came here for a class, and I was invited to play doubles with these older gentlemen from here, and I would say they're about like 70s to 80s, maybe around 80s, and I just got whipped. And that kind of motivated me to get better, and I've been almost playing, trying to play every day with Kim. That's what motivated me. And it's just a nice exercise in the morning to get out. We usually get out of here by 8, 9 o'clock, so go back, shower, and for the rest of the day, we're good.
Yeah, biking is really popular here. I just got a car after I've been on a bicycle for 6 years, and I just finally got a vehicle. But that's really I'm worried that my estado físico, what do you call it?
It's gonna get a bit of belly.
I'm gonna get less healthy because I'm not on the bike so much anymore. But there's also people in the tennis club are into long distance biking. And more, even a psychiatrist told me people live longer here in El Valle because almost everybody rides a bicycle.
3 or 4 times a year, you get these bike competitions here. The cycle competitions that come from the city, and they ride that the road coming in, the curvy road coming in. And then you also have
Going up or going down, or both?
both ways. Yeah, sometimes multiple times, depends on the competition. You also have trail runners. There's a trail that goes around the crater of the valley. So the circle around the top, there's actually a trail, and they're opening it up just a little bit more, so mountain bikes can even go in there.
How many people would you say are in the expat community altogether? Like
I used to hear there's
how-
300. I used to hear there's 300. There's people moving in.
But there's a fairly tight community here of expat. There's an expat website here, El Valle, so everybody shares information, and they're very active civically. Like we started a recycling program where we have a really nice recycling center now. That was done since I've been here. We had a team that went around and picked up trash off the streets to keep this place beautiful. And there's the Lions Club here, and Rotary, I think, at least in Coronado, there is a Rotary Club.
They just did a spay Panama.
Oh yeah, and they do the spay clinic, which is big. They just did
Yeah.
like 350 dogs and cats.
Yeah.
They spay them, and this is a big problem here, stray dogs.
But thanks to that, they keep it under
Yeah,
control.
they keep it under control pretty well.
I would say personally, I know a lot of people who moved from Boquete to here. I think the main reason I hear is they say Boquete got a little bit too big for them, so they would like a smaller place. Boquete
It's 20.
is a little bit colder, but there's definitely more people. That's why they have a lot of the amenities, like all the banks. We don't have. We only have the national banks here. So I think in terms of like being a little bit more quiet, a little bit less touristy, I think that's why a lot of people have moved here
that's true.
to Hawaii. Yeah, I would say like it's always been a little bit more, well, at least like people think it's a little bit more expensive here. And I would say like probably due to scarcity, but because the crater doesn't get any bigger. It's whatever land is inside, unless you want to go outside. The land is very limited here, and that's what creates the higher land prices, I'll say. If you want to just leave your house and go biking around town, you pretty much can only be in Hawaii. You have the option of living outside the crater, and I would say land prices are probably half or a third of what it is in here. But then you need to have a car to come into the town. I mean, if you don't mind the little drive, then you can definitely get some better prices outside of Hawaii. Hawaii isn't on most people's radar, and even a lot of being in the hospitality industry, a lot of people would skip it because there's better, beaches and more exciting things. Hawaii is more like a place to live, so you really have to come and visit to enjoy the weather, biking around town. That's kind of like the magic of Hawaii. It is a tourist destination, but there's a big difference between like during the rainy seasons and the dry seasons. So right now we're in the kind of the slower season right now. I personally like the slower season. I like it when it rains, everything turns green, and there's not so many tourists, which is better for living. Not so good for the wallet in the business, you know.
True.
But
Or for tennis.
or for tennis, yeah. But yeah, I would say like if anybody's like interested to come check out Hawaii, like I would say like you gotta stay at least like 2 or 3 days to really and don't get rained out, you know. I mean, and the great thing is like when it's rainy season, it's like the mornings you can do a hike and it'll rain maybe for an hour or two in the afternoon. It's quite on schedule. So if you're a person who wants to take a siesta, you know, in the afternoon, then it's a perfect place. That's what I like about the rainy season. And El Valle, I don't know in Boquete how far the hikes are, but El Valle, it's literally, you can just walk to the hikes if you wanted to the trailheads. Or by car, probably 5 minutes to maybe 4 or 5 trailheads. Since we're surrounded by the crater, each one is a different trail. So we have Cerro Carihuana, we have La Silla, we have La India Dormida, we have El Pastoreo, we have El Caetal. So within 5 minutes driving, or Golden Frog, there's one hike right behind the hotel, like, you know, 2 minutes walking from the hotel.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That's the nice thing about like being close to, I mean, in the crater, because you can hike up in any direction. It's a trail. So that's one special thing about El Valle.
My name is Heidi Ross. I'm originally from northern Wisconsin, a little town called Park Falls. I've lived in Panama for 22 and a half years.
My name is Edgardo Griffith. I'm a Panamanian. I was born and raised in Panama City and moved to El Valle in 2005. Well, we're both biologists, but she was a Peace Corps volunteer. So we were both working in the national park. I was working with the Panamanian golden frog from 2000 to 2004. She was in the same national park, started in 2000, but working with the community and in 2003, the day that she was leaving that community, it's called La Rica, we met. And then invited her to go out and look for frogs the next day, and we're still at it.
And so I got firsthand knowledge of like how awesome the frogs were. And, you know, northern Wisconsin, they have I mean, they're all fine, right? But they don't have glass frogs, and they don't have red-eyed tree frogs, and they don't have golden frogs, and so it was fantastic. The golden frog, this yellow frog, is only found here in Panama, this genus.
So there's this associated cultural aspect to the golden frog, to our pre-Columbian cultures, where they believe that the golden frog was a sign of good luck and fortune, and they also believe, badly for the frogs, that if they found a golden frog, a real golden frog, if they bury it, they will get a solid piece of gold after. And you know, the animal itself is just beautiful. So it's hard not to, for us as humans, not to build a relationship with something that's naturally beautiful. Same happens with babies, with sloths, with, you know, cats and dogs. You know, we have this kind of natural reaction to anything that's beautiful or cute or colorful, right? So I think that for these frogs, it was easy for them to become part of, you know, of Panamanian cultural heritage. The golden frog needs people, organizations like ours, to work on their conservation because they're facing extinction. And when we say extinction, we don't take that like lightly. You know, it's like extinction means that the species will disappear forever, and that's what we're dealing with. That's what those guys are dealing with. Once they're gone, they're gone. So, and for different reasons. Of course, like any other, you know, species, they're facing, you know, habitat destruction or habitat loss, pollution, overcollection, you know, the illegal pet trade. Those are all common threats to all amphibians and plants that are endangered. There's a pathogen that got introduced, which is a microscopic fungus that infects their skin. It's called a chytrid fungus. We call it BD. And this fungus has the capacity to decimate or basically kill 90% of the, you know, individuals of the species, and sometimes 100% of the, you know, those individuals or species within an amphibian community. So for some species like the golden frog, the only option that we had in 2005 was to put them in captivity, and it's still the only option that they have.
So back in 2006, we were collected different individuals of the golden frog, and we also have about 8 other different species we're working with right now. We've worked with
We
over
wanted
60.
to save everything.
Yeah, but you can't. So, but anyway, so what we've been doing for all of these years is we've figured out how to give them the frogs the right condition, and so they will breed, and so then we can continue them, and so they don't go extinct on the planet. So we have 2 laboratories that have frogs in it, and then 1 laboratory that has insects, because we have to raise all of our own food. So what we do is we have figured out how, because some frogs breed in the water, some frogs, breed in a tree hole, some frogs breed in a pond, some frogs will bury their eggs. There's all different these modes of reproduction. We're always in the process of figuring it out. And then we're keeping them on the planet. So ultimately what we're going to do is reintroduce them. And there's just been all these, construction and this and political things, and there's just been a series of all these calamities, I suppose. And so we haven't reached our ultimate goal of putting them back, but we're still here and we still have frogs, and so we're continuing we still have this vision.
One thing that people should understand too is that we don't do this because we want to, and it's because it's the only option. Being very selfish as human beings, it's the only option that we think we could give these animals that deserve a second chance to survive, right?
So when we started this, we were, young, of course. We didn't have children or a child, and we would always say, we want to keep them on the planet so our kids can see it, and our kids of our kids, and so it can carry on in the generations. And when our son was born, we hadn't seen golden frogs in the wild
for 2 years.
For 2 years, and in his lifetime, there's never been a golden frog of this kind in the wild. So at least we're keeping them on the planet.
This is not a frog that regular mortal people will see. This is like a Corvette, like a 60 something or something. I mean, this is like, to find this frog is to have at least 10 years of field work. His name Hyla miliaria. Yeah, that's the scientific name. Like, this is like one of the most specialized frogs that you'll ever see. Like this, they are gliders. You see, they have full webs between their fingers and toes that allows them to fly off the canopy and glide, and soften the landing. Get involved with what's happening locally, at your community, at home. Do things that support, the environment, the education.
Find out wherever you live, and find out about what conservation efforts are going around you, because it's fascinating. Like all over the United States, there's different research going on, and just any little, maybe the golden frog isn't what you want to dedicate your time, money, or whatever to, but go home and find out what's going on around you,
and get in touch with the people that are in the field doing the research and conservation, and not just support research. Eventually, research will run out of subjects if we don't conserve the natural world, and then we want to be doing research about how the research cannot be done because everything got extinct. Get involved with your community, support the young kids trying to do something with nature, embrace nature, respect nature, and give money. Literally, give money. You have an extra car, give it to people doing conservation or research, or have a piece of land that you don't know what to do, call us. I'm kidding, but it's basically money. What we need is support that has the dollar sign on it, because this cannot be paid for itself. Frogs cannot have a bank account.
If you had to pick one artisan thing to talk about that's in your shop, what would it be? What's one of the artisan things? Because we see so many things, from the molas to the basket weaving, jewelry, the hats, the artwork.
Okay, in my case, I think I prefer molas. because I'm Kuna Indians. I am native from this area. My mom were Kuna Molas. A few minutes ago, she went to Panama. She's with me, and this, oh, you lose this part, like you can take a video with her, but she's gone right now with my daughter. I prefer talking with my cultures, and then I try explain them, how it's come these designs, because we have our traditional designs, we have our modern traditional designs in combination, and the traditional designs, the geometrical designs.
So the geometric design is more traditional?
Yeah, it's like a more deeper, because
Okay.
have a message inside.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, the ones of nature also have like a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the one example is this over there, the maracas, or maracas in English, no? This one, this one is been like when the motor or the heart is make the rotations, it's like a similar like in maracas and movement. These sex sounds, and this is the reason the Kuna women make the designs. And then we have the rainbow, the different levels of the motor heart like this. This one.
Ah.
It's like a little different level on the motor heart. And something like this, different designs.
And the molas are different layers of material that are stitched together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because the traditional design, you can see the difference because these have 4 layers here. They start with this black and with yellow designs and cut, and they start sewing. And then when they finish with the black, it start with the orange. And same things with the red. It's the front, layers over layers.
Wow.
It seems like it would be a very meditative activity to do, right?
Yeah.
Very peaceful.
Yeah, but they working, the Kuna women is working sometimes, when they have a meeting in the Congress or meeting house, they listen to the music or the singing of the Saila, and she's sewing
Oh.
every night when they have a meeting.
This is a good thing to practice patience.
Yeah.
In Panama, right?
Yeah, with
Maybe
this-
everybody should stitch molas. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
may I ask you, we saw some sort of a ceremony, an event on the street today?
Oh, this is like a Catholic church.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a Catholic church make us. This is the first time I saw them.
Isn't it like a saint? Isn't
Yeah.
each town?
Yeah,
Doesn't
go on.
each town have like a saint that
Yeah,
it's known for?
each I say that downtown
Yeah.
have our church,
Yeah.
little capilla we call,
Uh-huh.
and they prepare something different things. But this is for me, it's like a new thing. Say so today.
Where can people find you in the market when they come to El Valle and they want to find Cleo?
Okay, I am here, and we say local número 3. This is the number 3, and outside say aquí se, the big logo. We call this one. Let me see how you say that. It's a reef.
Is that the coral?
Yes, a coral.
Really? Oh. Because that's what I was just telling him how I love snorkeling in San Blas because it was so pristine.
Yeah, this one is like a never mind how tough is the life,
Ah.
in your life, but you can be like a reef, support every storm.
¿Cuál es el precio?
35.
36.
35.
35. Right.
This is only one with reef.
Yeah. Let me see if I have cash. It speaks to me. It speaks to me.